Hello and welcome to 360 Gamercast episode 59 for Tuesday the 16th of February 2021. I'm your host Mark Webb, Gaming Tag Piss on D Steam ID Webby 360G, and joining me on this fine Monday evening is...
It's no longer cold, said my dad.
Hello, it's Collie Wally.
Amazon customer service is shit, Nick Wilson.
And Sensei Switch, and I will not be mentioning a certain game now for quite some time. Breathe a sigh of relief, people.
That's all right, because I can mention it, it's fine.
Yeah. We'll drag it out of you, mate.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've had some comments, I know, about certain games that me and Darren talk about, and I don't give a fuck, so I'm going to be talking about it this week.
That's fine. It's fine. If you're playing it, it's fine.
Yep.
You know?
If there's an event, it's still relevant.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's it.
You can always fast forward.
Yeah. So anyway, we didn't do the show yesterday because yesterday was Valentine's, and we wanted to be all romantic for those of us that got wives and partners and stuff. So we spent some time with them, just so we didn't piss them off. Even though my missus said to me,
yourselves if you're not.
Yeah, and then my missus said to me, "Well, I don't really mind if you did a podcast tonight." And I was like, "Oh, you don't want to spend any time with me on Valentine's then?" And she was like, "Well, we don't do cards or anything." We got Colin instead. So yeah. Colin's back to talk about his one game he plays.
Yeah,
I've been playing 2 games.
Oh, whoa! I am surprised.
Actually, I've got some stuff to talk about.
But... Good man.
Okay,
sweet man. I'm excited to hear about these other games you've been playing.
Yeah.
Oh, this game.
Yeah, or game.
It's still a small number, yes.
So anyway, before we talk about what we've been playing, I would like to mention some news. Just give me 2 seconds. This is not... No, I actually... because I was just thinking about it. I was just thinking about it, and this is a Patreon show, so I need to thank all the Patreons.
Okay.
Very quickly.
That's why we haven't got peeps this week.
Yeah,
thank you, Hogarth, and that's about it.
No, so I need to thank Craig Wood, Stefan, Sly, Sean, Nicky Wilson, David, Paul, Jason, Strokey, Ryan, John, Nigel, Sean, Despicable Mind, John Smith, Brian, Phil, and Wes.
Nice.
Thank you very much for making these extra shows come alive. You are.
I forgot to cancel a Patreon.
You bastard! I've already had one person cancel this month. I know.
I'd be sick of you keep calling everyone freeloading scum.
I know. Well, I can't help it, mate. It's just my sense of humour, and I know it doesn't come across quite the same on, in text and all that, calling everyone tight fuckers for not subscribing. But there we go. It's a £5 a month. It's not much. Do it. Do it now. You tight bastards.
Instead of buying bog roll,
Instead of buying... Well, you're not going to the pub. The pubs are still closed. That's 1 pint. Yeah?
Well, it's less than a pint here.
Well, you're obviously in Cheapville.
Well, no, it's less than a pint. Or was it? Yeah. I can't remember. I'm so looking forward to the pub. I've missed it. I haven't been in a pub since Christmas Eve. But
I'm going to come over there.
I haven't been in a pub since 2019.
Wow.
I actually went to a pub when the pubs were briefly open in the summer, when they had that eat out to help out thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you were part of the problem, yeah?
No, because I sat outside. I sat outside in the sunshine.
Dude, the
drinking
squirrel
beer.
has a lovely backyard beer garden, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, but I didn't go to that one. Yeah,
Hmm.
Anyway, some news. So, first of all, I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone who turned up for our Battlefield 4 session on the Xbox. Clarky, Hogarth, who else turned up? AJ turned up to say hello.
Peebs was in chat.
Dan was there. Peebs eventually turned up when he downloaded all the updates.
That was epic.
Yeah, Rooski Doo turned up. Was there anyone else? Am I missing anyone?
I think that should be it. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You sent me a party invite and I just ignored you.
You bastard. But, well, it was actually really, really good. I mean, that game came out in 2013. I can't actually believe how old it is. Because we actually played it on the 360, and it was one of those games that transitioned over to the next gen console. So we were all rocking the old Mojo clan tags because that's how old it is. Was Rubbish on too, Hogarth? I don't think so. He definitely wasn't in the party chat, so no. He might have been playing it on his own, but he didn't. He definitely didn't join our game. But it would have been nice if he did. So yeah, we're definitely going to do it again. So I know those of you have struggled with downloading it because it's all on Game Pass. So you need to download the game, but it only downloads the actual freaking game. So you need to, once it's downloaded, press start on the game and then go to manage your installation. And there's option in there which lists all the DLCs. Just tick them all and then click install, and then it will download them all. It's quite a big install, but then you'll have all the maps.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, we had a blast, didn't we, Dan? It was.
Did you win any games?
Yes, and we lost a lot.
Nice.
Yeah, we lost a load, we won a load, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, it still holds up quite well. So, I actually read some news today about Battlefield 6, and apparently it's going to be very similar to Battlefield 4. The rumor is that Battlefield 6 will feature Levolution on steroids.
What is Levolution?
Where
in building stuff.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's going to only have 4 classes, but it's also going to have free-to-play elements.
Which
is other words, microtransactions.
Battle Royale.
Oh, God.
Do you reckon it'll be out this year?
You sound like Sideshow Bob.
He does when he hits the rakes in his face. Yeah.
Oh God, they'll be partying with cash. Oh, they're wanting all sorts of money. EA. Oh man, no.
Do you reckon it's going to be this year?
No.
Because they haven't had a Battlefield now for what, 2 or 3 years.
I think we'll have. Possibly you'll have announcements coming in when the next financial year starts in April. So if it's going to happen this year, expect some news a month after next. Maybe later, maybe even E3, but we know it's coming.
So apparently Battlefield 5 has a Battle Royale mode. I haven't tried it, but it's probably shit.
Battlefield 5's World War II, right? Weapons and all that?
Yeah. It's on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Balls.
So, yeah.
You can check it out, I think. Have a look at it, see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've been playing the single player. It's actually quite good. I actually have to say
eat humble pie.
It's actually got really crap chivos though, because most achievements are multiplayer. Well, so you only get achievements for beating the missions, and that's it.
Yeah, chivos aren't all that, mate. I know you guys.
I'm just sticking up for
you furiously masturbate over them, but
it's...
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well.
Cool. So that's that bit of news anyway. So big thank you to Clarky for choosing the game for Battlefield 4. I do want to do another one maybe this week, and then we can try and do some gamer nights every Friday.
Just get on brink to people.
Well, if we get the community to choose a game, and if that game's on Game Pass, it's even better because everyone can join in then. Having to spend any money.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Game Pass games only, mate. Yeah.
Oh, it's loads to choose from, so
exactly.
It's all good.
Nice.
Test drive Tuesdays.
Woo! Gears with beers.
Oh, Gears, yeah. see, I turned there 180 degrees. Done.
A bit of Forza. Yeah, we can have a Forza Friday. That'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Get thinking, people.
Yeah. What I would really like though is to have a community Sea of Thieves session as well.
Oh yeah,
it's really good with people. It's actually really, really good.
You remember what it was like when we first started playing that? It was like
dog shit.
The blind leading the blind. It was. We didn't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah, but now it's decent, man. It's decent. It is where they've done so much to that game.
I still need my handheld though.
Yeah, I know. It's fine.
We all have to buy cats though if we buy that.
Yeah.
And then fire into the fucking cannonball.
We need to get Darkest Frost on with us because he plays it all the bloody time. So It's all good. Burnout Paradise, Clarky mentioned. So, yeah, can do that as well. Love a bit of Burnout. So, there's loads of stuff we can play, guys. Just get the community back, community gaming going again. Let's do this.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare?
We can do some Call of Duty for you, Colin. It's fine.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Right, a little bit of news then. I'm going to spend a tiny bit of time slagging off PlayStation now. I'm sorry for the PlayStation fans out there.
Good thing Stunty's not a Patreon.
I'm really hoping Stunty's not listening to this week's show.
He's at a breaking point. He's already like...
Oh, no.
Let's see what you got to say, because I knew this was coming.
Well, I've actually got 2 bits of news.
Okay.
About PlayStation this week. And it does sadden me, because I used to be a huge PlayStation fanboy back in the day, and I still think, the best JRPGs come out on that system, even though Xbox is drastically catching up now, putting all the Final Fantasy series pretty much onto Game Pass, the Yakuza games and stuff. But the one thing, and I put this on Twitter this week, and I actually got a mixture of replies, actually, which was quite interesting. Quite a few people defending this. Now, Sony Studios, their own games have been and are in future releasing on the PlayStation 5 for £70. Now, I personally think that's a fucking rip-off. That is just redonk. Like every other game on the next gen systems, PS5, Xbox, whatever, comes out like £50. But for some reason, Sony Studios got their thumb up their arse and think they can charge 70 fucking quid for their own games. It's fucking bollocks. I can't believe people are defending those prices. They're just insane. Absolutely insane. You got Demon Souls, which is a fucking remaster of a PS3 game, £70. And then you got Ratchet and Clank, not the greatest game in the world, 70 fucking quid.
Wow. I thought that would have been cheaper.
Absolutely madness. And then people were saying to me, oh yeah, but you can pick it up for £62 on Shop 2. It's still on fucking 62 quid for a game. You're insane.
What happened to 40 quid?
So I had a lot of people supporting me with this, but then I had a lot of PlayStation fanboys being like, well, 70 quid's fine. I used to pay that for a Super Nintendo game in the 90s. And I'm like, yeah, and that's fair, but then you got to take into the factor that a lot of that cost was the actual cartridge itself. Yeah.
If you're importing games, it'll cost you about 70 or 80 quid.
Yeah. So, you're thinking they're charging 70 quid for either a disc, which costs like a penny, or a digital download, which is the cost of what their servers are hosting on, or whatever. And I know people are like, oh yeah, but games cost more to make these days, blah, blah, blah. I understand those arguments, but personally, I think 70 quid is a silly price.
I think, what do I think? I think with this particular scenario, Sony have kind of waited for the change in generation for implementing this. We've seen recently, I suppose, in the last 10 years or so, standard price of 40 quid to 45, 50 quid. Not too much 60 anymore, though the Mass Effect Legendary Edition I've seen has been down for pre-order for 60 quid on Amazon. That went straight up.
Steep.
I know, I thought it was steep because I was thinking, well, you do get a little bang for your buck, but again, it is steep. But we've kind of in a scenario now, and I'm not justifying. I mean, I think to a degree that Sony have taken are reported to taking a massive hit on the cost and selling through PlayStation 5s. They're losing money, even though you can't really get hold of one at the moment. So, and then you've got, I guess, PlayStation Plus potentially not being as profitable as Game Pass allegedly. So you've got all these kind of economies working in tandem, and at the end of the day, and they are responsible to shareholders. And at the end, and if consumers are willing to pay that price, I'm afraid Sony are going to get away with it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we'll see what the market will bear, but what is the justification?
It's just because it's new generation. That's it. See what you can get away with.
Yeah, but it's only the Sony Studios games that have been priced
so it's like 4 games a year then.
Yeah.
it's silly. It's still silly though because you know, because the thing is, like, my worry is other publishers will copy, which could happen. I don't know, but I personally don't. It's hard to see what people do because a lot of gamers out there are quite conscious. You know, it's a hobby. They've got a lot of people have got families, kids, or whatever. It's hard to justify to your wife in a lot of cases spending 70 quid on a video game.
Yeah.
Right?
Sorry,
you go.
No, I was basically saying that the kind of the £70 price tag has been here for a while in disguise, in stealth mode, mainly because of all these fucking Ultimate Editions that are out and about. So, you know, you buy the base game and you have a massive load of content carved out of it to get a cheaper price. And we've seen that happen time and time again, like the Ultimate Edition of this, Ultimate Edition of that.
Yeah. But then you still got the choice of buying the game at 50 quid or whatever.
Well, yeah, exactly. But you're missing tons of the content and any kind of maybe potential support. We've always had this problem with gaming. I mean, the advent of, I suppose, resale and trade-ins it did impact them back in the day. Hence, we had the online passes being sold through and so forth. So the industry is constantly looking at ways of how can we get more price per unit out of this. I mean, it's if you were to look at now, for example, Street Fighter 5, a good example. When that first came out, you're looking at, I think I paid about, was it 40 quid for it? Push, maybe a bit more. And now, you know, they're expecting you to pay £100 more at least to get all the characters by now. I feel like it's over the lifespan of 5 years.
Yeah.
This game, but you are end up looking at a game that is literally 3 times the price you've paid for it.
Yeah.
And again, you're constantly looking at ways of how do you maximize the revenue per title. So whether that's through microtransactions, DLC, updates, different kinds of packages and so forth.
Yeah.
This is the next step, and Sony could look at these games. Okay, well, we could make an Ultimate Edition for this with a couple of shitty skins and maybe a download CD soundtrack. But fuck it, we'll just put a steelbook in it, piss off Switch, and charge 70 quid for it, and call it the version. I think you're right in the sense of flagging this, Webby, but they've been up to this kind of shady shit for ages.
It's just one of the things that's made me want to talk about this is because I've not seen anyone else talking about this price increase, and you compare it to games last gen. Yeah, the RRP will say 50 quid. That's a £20 increase for games, right? I feel that's a big jump. Also, I seriously think that, and people can slag me off or whatever, if Microsoft or Nintendo did this, the internet would be going mental. Oh, Microsoft, Nintendo, you're fucking ripping everyone off. You're a bunch of cunts, blah, blah, blah. But because it's PlayStation, everyone's like, oh, yeah.
I don't think that's true.
You can take me up the arse and charge me 70 fucking quid for that fucking game. Fucking happy you cunts.
Yeah, he's lost it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to spend too much time on this one because I think I'm more interested in the other thing about Sony that you want to gripe about. But how does the whole Game Pass, PlayStation Plus, subscription model fit into this, if at all? Like, because I was going to say, it feels like games are getting more accessible, not less accessible. Or you pay your 15 quid a month, or $15 a month for Game Pass. And that turns out to be, $180 a year. That's 3 retail titles total.
Yeah.
But you can play dozens and dozens of games, and any new game that's released by Microsoft Studio, Microsoft-owned studio, and presumably the same for PlayStation Plus. So is the plan? Is Sony not going to include these in their equivalent of Game Pass or their?
Well, they don't have. Well, they've got PlayStation.
They
Plus,
end up on now, but it's usually like months later down the line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, years.
Just wait a few months.
Yeah, or years. I mean, I don't expect to see these Sony Studio games on PS Now or PS Plus for a long time. To be honest, if they're charging that, they're not going to be like, oh, we'll put them on the service 6 months later, just because people would then just wait, right? So I reckon it'll be a long time.
Just wait a month before you buy the Sony games, because they're mostly single player, and they'll be patched and normally all games are broken now on launch. And if you wait a month, it'll really upset their initial sales, and they'll drop the price anyway.
Yeah,
or just get it on eBay.
The big Sony ones are usually pretty well done before they go out. I must admit.
And it's not me being a fanboy or anything like that. I just like good value, and I personally think, like, I see a lot of people talking about Game Pass in the Twitch chat at the moment. I think Game Pass is good value for money. If you pay for Ultimate, you get PC, Xbox, and the streaming service as well. And I know the Microsoft exclusive games, a lot of people can argue that they're not on par with the Sony exclusive games, but I think Microsoft are getting there. They've bought a lot of studios, and there's going to be a lot coming in the future. A lot of people have said that the price point of Game Pass cannot be sustainable, so expect to see price rises. We'll see. Nothing's guaranteed at the moment, right? I mean, they've got millions and millions of subscribers at the moment. They're making a lot of money off it, so
Microsoft have a lot of money anyway from their other ventures, like they can bankroll it for ages, and as long as that gives them a bigger foothold in the market share overall, when things do obviously move forward inevitably, like 5+10 years down the line, they're going to have an even bigger foothold and a more advantage going forward.
100%. Yeah, I think it's a great service. Not because I've been back to gaming on my console a lot more recently, and I've been loving Game Pass on the Xbox because there's a lot of different games on there compared to the PC. So I've been really enjoying the service. To be honest, it's great because I'm not having to spend any extra money to play games, and that's always a win-win situation, right? So yeah, it's good. Right. Anyway, I've got another bit of news about Sony. This is probably something that Darren's interested in, to be honest.
Buckle up.
And he has mentioned this before as well, actually. So it looks like Sony are pissing off a lot of their Japanese customers. And apparently there's a term that these customers are using as well, which I thought was quite interesting. The term is called Sony check. Now, what this means is games. So since Sony have moved from Japan to California, they have become a lot more robust with their censorship of video games. And as we know, in Japan, they like their scantily clad women, etc., in their video games. I don't have a problem with it. It's their culture, whatever, that's fine.
Who are we to judge?
Who are we to judge? Anyway, so there's this term that the Japanese customers are now using. It's called Sony check, and basically what that means is that games are being checked by Sony above and beyond, your sensors, your rating systems, like your PEGI 15s and 18s or whatever the fuck it's called in America.
They're sort of trying to Disneyfy a bit.
Yeah,
like they're more worried about. See, and this all comes down to the fact now that everyone gets so outraged online over everything. They just don't. They just want to try and avoid as much controversy as possible. But if you're just constantly shrinking away in fear of doing anything that might offend anyone, that's a recipe for disaster, because eventually you can't run forever.
No, and they're losing. And the funny thing is, right, Japan used to be Sony's biggest market, but obviously Sony want to expand worldwide because obviously the world is a bigger market than Japan. But Japan are their core audience, right? The core customer. Those are, what made them what they are today with the PlayStation brand. And what's happening is, but the reason why Japanese gamers are getting upset with this is because, they're doing this Sony check. So, excuse me, you get games that come out on PlayStation, Nintendo, say Xbox and PC or whatever. And what's happening is the game will be as it should be on all the platforms, but on the PlayStation platform, it's been massively censored. So, you get girls in bikinis or whatever.
You got exact examples.
I did have
one
on the news.
A Mega Labyrinth was one that completely altered how it was on PlayStation to how it was on the Switch.
Like what?
Yeah.
Well, they just stripped out a lot of the weird sort of datey stuff in the game and just made it really. They actually called it Family Edition or something.
Okay.
And there was examples.
This is the U-rated version of a game that could be a 12 or a 15 in general.
Okay.
So what's happening is like even like 18 rated games that they are censoring. So for example, on one of the articles I read, I didn't actually save it in my Google Notes, which I should have done, where they had just a screenshot of the game on the Nintendo Switch and the PlayStation, and on the Nintendo Switch had this girl just laying on the floor in a bikini, and on the PlayStation version they'd added like loads of like sun streaks, like.
Oh, that's a visual novel. I guarantee you that's a VN, a visual novel.
I don't know, but I just found it quite an interesting piece of news because it's not something that doesn't really affect us because those aren't really most of those games don't really. I mean, I've never heard of, or they don't really come out in the West anyway. I don't think. I mean, I think
no, they don't.
Know a little bit.
I mean, a lot of the also Twitch and the fact that people stream now is another issue that's come in with it because it's like, right, you could get hold of a niche Japanese title that might be a bit, say, strange to some people or whatever are watching it, and you're streaming it on Twitch, and then people are like, "What game's this? Oh, it's on PlayStation."
Yeah.
Sort of a thing. So that also has a very slight influence on why they're putting again these sort of like checks in, and they don't want stuff coming back against their names and whatnot. But you can't not take risks. Like that's where innovation's born and like difference and stuff. Otherwise, everything just homogenizes into a samey thing. I mean, let's look at say the 360 PS3 generation and the type of games we had there. To what we ended up with getting this previous generation that's just ended. The games kind of became more samey. In a sense.
I agree.
You lost a lot of different sort of types of games, and other ones were just pushed back, and now they're either just relegated to mobile phones or like an indie title.
Or on Steam. I mean, there's no real censorship. Well, there is some censorship on Steam, but
I'll
not
still
in that
see it
regard.
on there as well.
But
a lot of it is due to backlash.
But what's interesting from this piece of news is that that I found interesting anyway was that famously Nintendo have always been the ones to aim more towards the family-friendly kid games being big on the censorship, but it seems like the tides have turned now where Nintendo actually came out and said, look, there's a rating system for a reason, and we just go by whatever the rating system is in that country, and developers can put whatever they want out on our system as long as it meets those guidelines. So it seems to me that, like, if you're living in Japan, the only way to get your uncensored games is to buy them on the Switch, which I find really, really bizarre.
That's crazy. Yeah, it is bizarre.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Never mind. Anyway, I don't play games like that anyway, so it's all right. Lol.
Yeah, well.
But and so you just noticed the Czech thing starting to trend, or people talking about it, I take it.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything, to be honest with you.
I saw it. It came up on my Twitter feed, this YouTube video about it, and I just gave it a watch, and I thought it was quite an interesting piece. I was obviously because...
I'd like to see more examples, though, guys. I'll have a look.
I can find them.
You also have the fact as well, like I've stated before, that there's less and less Japanese sort of developed games coming out on PlayStation nowadays compared to how it used to.
Yeah.
Like more and more Japanese games are Switch bound now, which is why Switch is really popular not just around the world, but in Japan as well.
I think it's also the development costs for the Switch are a hell of a lot lower than they would be on a PS4 or PS5.
Yeah, but what you're finding now, Dan and Darren, as well, is it seems to me that a lot more of the Japanese games are coming to the Xbox platform now. You look, Microsoft are trying very hard to court the Japanese developers and publishers. You look at the deals that they've made with Sega in regards to getting all the Yakuza games onto Game Pass. Yeah, and then you've got them trying to court Square a little bit by putting all the...
It's always second fiddle, though, let's be honest.
Yes, it is, because you look at like Final Fantasy 7 remake, that's not come out on any other platform. It's been out for nearly a year, right? So
there was no news either at the concert the other day. There was nothing.
And there has been some rumblings I've seen. I think they're just rumours. I don't know how much truth there are to these rumours.
They all are rumours, I imagine.
There's rumours that Sony are looking to buy Square Enix out.
Wouldn't surprise me. It's their counter to the Bethesda purchase.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, hope that doesn't happen. But
console wars.
Yes.
It's always gone on, and the random stuff. I mean, hell, if you go back to the NES Master System days or whatever, even back then, there was so many games that were only available for each platform. Like almost half the games that came out on those machines weren't multi-platform games. They were just made for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose we've been quite lucky in a way that most games are available on all platforms, but back in the day, you're right, you had to own all the platforms to get all the games, whereas if you don't own a PlayStation, you're missing out on those few exclusives, and the same if you don't own Xbox or whatever. So, yeah, strange times.
Oh, well, never mind. Was that Gun Girl game? Oh, don't worry about that, mate.
Gun, that's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Dan, they did Devil May Cry 5. That's probably the biggest one they done. I think you picked up some bird in that who'd got sort of like not killed, but sort of like beaten up, and for some reason she was naked. I can't remember exactly why, but like they on the PlayStation 4 version, they done like some weird lens flare thing because you saw a little bit of butt cheek, but they took that out of the PlayStation
butt cheek? No,
I mean, that's an 18 rated game, so theoretically they could show whatever they want, but the PlayStation said to do that and two things, and apparently they were behind like Jill's miniskirt in Resi 3 last year. Well, we don't need to talk about that anymore.
But then, like, you can always understand the fact that in one of Sony's own major first-party studio games, you literally raw dog a woman from behind.
What?
Yeah, I know what you're on about. Yeah.
Okay, so we go down.
No, I'm just saying that, like, and that wasn't censored. Sort of thing. So people do notice things like that.
We're kind of, I don't know. It's a weird one because if you were to compare this to the film like industry and ratings there, a lot of the time those certain films are cut or edited just so that they can get the lower ratings to make them more profitable. And if you were to kind of extrapolate that thought process to the gaming industry, you could almost say, Sony are following suit with what movie companies are doing in order to.
But Dan, if there's still an 18 rated game, what's the point?
Well, this is the thing. It's
understand making a movie a 12A because then you can get the parents taking the kids as well. So theoretically, everyone can see it.
Yeah, I mean that's true to it, but at the same time, it's. I'm just trying to be devil's advocate here because you all seem really upset about this.
And at the moment, I'm just saying it's just one of those things. And people
I'm just a bit indifferent about it. It's kind of like
films are given more free reign. Like I think there's far more worse things in films than I've seen in actual games.
Oh, of course there is, but it's also to do with tone as well and cuts. I mean, for example, there was a time you couldn't show a headbutt in anything higher than a 15 and above. But now you can get decapitations in 12As. So I don't know. It's also to do with context again at the end of the day. And what I think what Sony are quite worried about is with games in particular, there isn't any like gatekeeper a lot of the time to these titles. A lot of these things are digital downloads. They can be streamed on Twitch. They can be shown on YouTube live streams and so forth. And if a parent sees, little Johnny's paying someone where someone's butt naked after being sexually assaulted, there is an issue with that happening. And Sony doesn't really want that coming back.
Should not be allowed to be streamed online. Then, I mean,
well, that's the whole different conversation, isn't it?
I think there are certain games you aren't allowed to stream on Twitch.
Gaming's always going to struggle this at the moment in the terms of accessibility and what the target market is. You're going to have a scenario where people will always consider video games no matter what we say and we think, that are targeted towards children. Think about the children. And if these titles are, and it's very hard to control them, Sony are kind of jumping the gun and going, well, okay, well, we'll edit this out to act responsible. Nintendo have done it to a degree with their core products over the years.
Yeah, they did it back in the day a lot.
Yeah, it's just another evolution of that, and I think the mass market will look at these actions and thank Sony for doing this, because I know a lot of people with kids, and that they're very cautious. I get good friends of mine. They ask me, "Can my son play this?" And I look at, I go, how can I piss him off? I've been saying for about 3 or 4 years now he's not allowed to play Detroit Beyond Human. I might now have played it myself. I might say he can, but that's just an example. People are being cautious about what their kids can play, because
that makes a change, because most parents don't give a fuck.
Well, that's the thing. It's a balancing act. I don't have kids, so I don't have to worry about this. But I get Sony's position, and from the things you've described, the games in particular, I'm like, yeah, and it doesn't really bother me. These are niche titles at the end of the day that appeal to certain key demographics, and no wonder they're outraged, because it's their game. They're not really, from the sound of it, mass market games. Which is another thing.
Can we talk about the outrage of the censoring of Miranda's butt?
Well, this is a different context again.
We mentioned that last week.
What the fuck?
But if you read in the reason why they've done that, it's she's going on about some childhood trauma, and then you kind of like staring at her ass, and I think that's a little bit kind of.
Well, the thing is, right, when we originally played the game, no one said, "Oh yeah, that scene was really bad."
I can't even remember this.
I don't.
Never could I.
The world was a normal place back then. That's what you got.
I long for the good old days of common sense.
Everyone had a bit of common sense. Like, it was just like, well,
Well, I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, you probably don't remember it because you were looking at a butt.
Probably.
So, I don't know. I don't know.
But wasn't that just like you could press the buttons and change the camera angles? So if you didn't, you just like. I think that's what it was. No. It's not that they were literally showing you her butt. You could because they were moaning about Skyrim, that you just sort of like staring at a dead wooden face all the time and stuff like that, and Oblivion. So they said, if you press the bumper buttons, you can change camera angles and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, fair enough. They put that angle in, but.
I don't know. I think a lot of people are huffing and puffing about nothing, personally. But
well, I know I mentioned it last week, but I think the reason why people were huffing and puffing is because the developers came out on social media just slagging off their fan base, saying, "Well, if you want to look at butts, just go on Pornhub." I don't think that's a good way to talk to your customers. I haven't
seen any of this. So I can't.
Well, I saw it. I saw it on Twitter, and I was just like,
"Yeah, they did say that."
Fucking bellends. That's all I have to say. And I know you're listening because you're fans. You fucking cunts.
They're not listening because they're not Patreons.
Well, up until the news, everyone listens up until after the news. So this is for everyone at the moment. It's also okay.
Okay. You're getting a bumper edition of free shit this week.
Yeah, that's it. And as soon as we finish the news, that's where my lovely voice comes in saying, to listen to the rest of the show, subscribe to the Patreon. So, yeah. Okay, I have one more piece of news.
I'll go to Twitch. More news.
Yeah, I've got one more piece of news. I don't know if you guys remember this. This jogged my memory quite a lot. There was a game that was meant to come out and got cancelled called 6 Days in Fallujah. It's actually coming out again now. So the project was originally announced by Atomic Games and Konami back in 2009. Before it was dropped because of American outrage.
Yeah, because of controversy. So why release it now in the era of controversy?
Ray tracing.
It's silly.
Yeah, so
they're putting some lipstick on it and wheeling it out like a dead pig, mate.
So there is a trailer. I've not actually watched the trailer yet. I need to watch it. I just haven't had time today. I've been very busy playing Valheim, but Apparently it was dropped because of American outrage. I mean, I don't really know a lot about this Battle of Fallujah. Apparently lots of people died, etc., etc. But yeah, it's coming out. There's no set release date yet, but I just thought it was quite interesting that a cancelled project because of outrage is now coming out. Perhaps they think enough time has passed. I don't know.
Maybe it was almost ready to release. That's the thing. You got this thing sitting on the shelf. All they've got to do is
the graphics are gonna suck, aren't they?
Well, they're gonna be hybrid.
I'm just sticking the trailer on just to have a look now, see what it looks like. It would be funny if they faked a game getting cancelled just so they could like completely work on it for years.
Yeah,
that would be funny.
Oh well.
I mean, this was hot off the heels, kind of Spec Ops: The Line, wasn't it? It wasn't long after that.
Bloody hell! I have to go back.
I think it was.
You have to go back into the annals of history for that one. We probably talked about it back in the day.
Stays in Fallujah. Oh yeah, there's a trailer on IGN of all places as well. Cool. Oh come on, then put all this boring bollocks up first.
Nice dead air.
Yeah.
Playboy Peeps. Hello, Playboy Peeps. He's here. Also, I've actually got some real world footage in this trailer. It's looking a bit fucked up at the moment. People getting put in boots of cars and people shooting.
It's all the Iraq stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, people getting beaten up in the streets and people driving down the road. Well, where's the actual gameplay then?
I will get 2 seconds of it at the end, I think.
This is all video footage away from the Iraqi war.
Yeah, I want to actually see some gameplay. Oh, there we go. Is this a game? Oh, stop talking, you fucker. I just want to see gameplay. Oh, yeah, this looks quite good, actually. Graphic-wise. I'm getting this. Day one, man. Just for the controversy. It's made me want the game even more. Cool.
Yeah.
Until Sony get their grubby hands on it.
Yeah, they probably just won't release it on the PlayStation because, they just fucking censor everything now, don't they?
Oh, no, it's fine. You can shoot people in the face. It's fine.
You just can't look at any boobies.
And they can't be naked while you do it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Cool. Right, that's all my news. Anyone else got any news? No. 40 minutes of news. Boom.
I just got a quick one. Was today that Sony are getting a US firm done a class action lawsuit against them for stick drift on the DualShock 5s.
Oh, okay.
Just today.
The vultures are circling.
Fucking hell, Sony's getting all the bad press, aren't they?
Well, I have to take that with a pinch of salt, that one. That's probably someone seeing they can pull off a Nintendo. They probably
that's a fairly big firm because apparently there's a defect in it that they knew before release and just didn't give a shit.
Well, is this the only example we've had of the drift on the joypad? Is it I don't know. Let's wait and see where that goes. I don't take that with a...
So just talking about that sort of stuff, there's a company in Canada who are making the plates for the PS5, black ones, so it actually matches the rest of the console. And apparently on the top of their website it says, "Try and sue us, Sony, we dare you."
Oh,
that's called D brand.
Yes. I was pissing myself when I read that because there was another company that was going to do them, and then Sony shut them down. But this other company is based in Canada, and they're just like, "Oh fuck you, we're going to do it." So they've been selling them. So good times.
But you still got a white controller, so you got to wait for the black one of them to really.
Yeah, I'm sure you can buy a skin.
I'll just paint it, mate, with some, done.
That'd be a heathen.
I'll have to buy a new controller in 3 months anyway because all the sticks are drifting.
They can't be as bad as the Joy-Cons on the Switch, though. Surely. They're fucking.
Oh no, no one can buy any. Then for sale.
Well, my Joy-Cons don't even work if they're not plugged into the actual bloody Switch. They're fucked. So I'm not happy with that. But there we go.
Okay.
Right. News is over.
News is over. Get out, freeloaders.
To listen to the rest of this week's show, please subscribe at patreon.com/360gamercast. When you subscribe for as little as £5 a month, you get a podcast episode every single week of the year. an awesome Discord rank as well, with its own private chat room, and your own feed on any podcast app to listen to the show. It does not work with Spotify, however, so you'll have to use an app such as Pocket Cast, which I have to say is really, really awesome. Again, that website is patreon.com/360gamercast. You know you want to support the show. A $5 a month is not a lot of money to spend. Come on, guys, don't be tight. $5 a month. Love you lots. See you on the other side.